good, y'all? Welcome back to another day of Vlogmas. Today I'm doing my everyday makeup routine because I've been getting a lot of requests to do that. So I'll tell you all the products, also techniques, and just how I do my everyday makeup look. Be sure to hit that sub button if you haven't already. Turn on my post notifications. I am posting every day for Vlogmas. That's about it, so let's get right into it. Life is actually a mess right now. My room is so messy. I'm just shoving everything everywhere, but so first things first, make sure that your lips are moisturized, hydrated. Whatever you use, put that on right now. I use good old Vaseline petroleum jelly. Not only do your lips need to be hydrated, but make sure your face is too. When I first wake up, I always rinse my face, if anything, if I'm not gonna fully cleanse it, and then I'll put some sort of moisturizer on. I always do my brows before I get into any other part of my face. And I use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in medium brown. And then the brush I use is also from ABH, but this is their brush 14. I feel like y'all know how to do brows, so I'm just gonna fast forward to this. If y'all want a more in-depth brow tutorial, hit me up, comment down below. But let's move on. Okay, brows are done. Moving on to the face. You always want to put SPF. I mean, it's more ideal for if you're going outside, but just to show y'all what I do. This is the Murad Pore Rescue Balancing Moisturizer Broad Spectrum SPF 15. I just put that on my face. I heavily focus it on, I'd say, my nose and my cheeks, but then you don't want to neglect the rest of your face either. Alright, once we got moisturizer on, I'm gonna go into primer, and I use the NYX Bear With Me Jelly Primer. For being a drugstore brand, I would say it's a little expensive, but it is literally the greatest primer I've ever used because I love the jelly texture, but then it's also super moisturizing and it doesn't break me out. I remember I tried the e.l.f. one, and I think that one had like silicone in it or something, so it kind of broke out my skin a little bit. Now that we're prepped and primed, I usually let it sink in just for a little bit, and this is when I go dampen my beauty blenders and stuff like that, and also put green concealer. So if you have any redness the day you're doing your makeup, I will put this on just to help kind of color correct a little bit. It's not really necessary because the foundation will pretty much cover your blemishes, but sometimes you just need like a little bit of a push. So then if I do use green concealer, it is just the e.l.f. color correcting stick, and it's a little like jumbo stick thing, and I just mark it onto my face. I think because I primed my face really well, this is sticking to my face nicely. One time I did this and I forgot to blend it out before I did my foundation, but the thing is, you honestly don't really need to blend it out. I feel like it'll cover better if you don't blend it out, especially because I use beauty blenders and sometimes that can lift product off your face. That's what we're looking like right now. If you want, you could blend it in a little bit. I just take a concealer brush and do that and just like press it in. For foundation, I use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation, and this is in 340C, kind of light to medium coverage. You could always do backhand. I do about like 3 pumps, or I go directly onto my face because I feel that it saves a lot of product because you're not swiping it off of your backhand. Instead of blending it straight up like this, with the beauty blender, I like to kind of dab the product around so that way it'll be spread out a little bit, it'll be warmed up, and a lot easier to blend throughout your whole face. And then I just take my Real Techniques beauty sponge and start dabbing that into my skin. When it comes to the blending part, never swipe, I always dab if I'm using this kind of beauty sponge. I try to layer it on top of the green concealer rather than try and like push product from other parts of my face onto it, so that way it'll actually conceal it and not lift any of the product off. For my neck, I don't really care about dabbing motions. I kind of do like a dab, brush down type motion. Moving on to contouring and highlighting. I always cream contour first, so I just use my LA Girl Pro Concealers. The highlight color is in medium beige and the contour shade is in toast. I've been starting to contour first instead of highlighting. I don't know why I used to always highlight first. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. So I take the contour shade, do a little bit in the hollows underneath my cheekbones, and then I go up here on my forehead, my nose contour, go thinly down my nose, and then I do a line across and just a little bit outside to outline my lips. Whatever's left on the brush, I'll just like drag it onto my jawline. It's not that much at all, but Why not? This is actually a foundation brush. This is the It Cosmetics foundation brush. It's number 102. And I just do this in dabbing motions too. And then because sometimes the middle won't blend out as much, you can kind of like push down or push up actually. Don't push down. But I like to do this first because when it comes down to like your nose contour, obviously I want to blend out my contour first and then highlight the areas that need to be highlighted. It's just a lot easier that way. So that way it doesn't get lost in translation when it comes down to blending this part out. This is the Morphe E15 brush and I just slightly buff that out and I kind of drag it up to my eyebrow, and then I also use this to blend out the lip. This just helps to give your lips a little bit more of a plump. Alright, on to the next. We got the highlight. I go right here in the inner part underneath my eyes. I also just do it a little bit out here to give myself a little bit of a lift. I also go down my nose, Cupid's bow right here on my chin, and then of course my forehead T-zone area. I take a tiny little beauty sponge. This is the Real Techniques. Just blend everything in, push it into my skin, blend that out. With any leftover product, I just dab that onto my eyelid and do the same on the other side. That's pretty much it for that, and then we can start to set it with the powders. So I take bronzer and I also take a baking powder, a baking banana powder. First we're gonna do the bronzer, and I use my Anastasia Beverly Hills powder bronzer in Saddle. Looks a little something like this. And I just take a Morphe brush. This is the M105. I think it's a contour brush. I'm not too sure. Warm up the contour a little bit more and upward strokes. And then dust a little bit on my forehead. We're gonna redefine the nose contour a little bit more again. So I take the same brush that I used earlier and I dab it on the side. And then for the bottom part, I take my Benefit Hoola bronzer and just go below. And then I take the Anastasia bronzer on the lip contour. Now we can highlight. I just take my Makeup Revolution banana powder, dust some of that out, take the small beauty blender again, press that into all the parts where I highlighted, especially underneath my eye because I don't want it to crease. I mean, for me, sometimes it's just inevitable, but if I could try to prevent that from happening as much as possible. And I don't necessarily bake my face to where I leave it on and layer it and then dust it off later. I kind of just take what I have to press into my skin. To set my neck, I just take this Morphe Y11 brush, get some on, dust it off, so that way you're not just like chucking a whole bunch of freaking powder onto your skin. The only thing I really do bake is my underneath the contour. I use this e.l.f. sculpting brush and get some of that powder on, dust off excess. And then I blend it out a little bit at the bottom and then a little bit on the cheek so the contour doesn't look too crazy. With whatever powder might be left on the brush, I kind of just go back into the parts that I did highlight. Okay, because I like to do things in between, that way you're not wasting time while you get ready and you're just sitting. I'll do like my lashes, and while I wait for the glue to dry, I'll do maybe like my highlight. First for lashes, I just use tweezers and I use my Duo Dark Tone glue. All products, by the way, will be listed in the description box down below, as well as the lashes. I don't have like an actual lash pack to show y'all. It was a jumbo pack from my Amazon lash review video. I could link that in the description down below too if y'all want to see the different styles, but this is from one of those packs, those variety packs. But of course I need to coat my lashes with mascara, and this is the L'Oreal Telescopic. I don't put that much mascara to coat them just because you're gonna top them with lashes anyways. I'm gonna take my Juvia's Place highlighter, and this is in the Tribe Highlighter Volume 2. Looks a little something like this, but I take a regular flat shadow brush and I put some on my brow bone. Get a little bit of shine going there. Okay, kind of effed up because the lash glue was a lot drier and ready than I expected. Might have waited just a little bit too long, but still sticking. That's all that matters. That's what that lash looks like. I'm gonna do the other one. This is how the layer of glue looks. It's really not that thick. And what was I gonna do? We're gonna do my blush. It's literally nothing, like barely anything, because I was never a fan of blush, but then I bought a random one. This is the Maybelline Fit Me blush in wine. I just didn't like blush because I naturally be getting rosy cheeks sometimes, and I'm like, why would I want to make myself look more rosy? But then I started doing it and I actually like it, so we're gonna do that. I'm just dusting off the powder that I had underneath, and then I just kind of go over the areas that I did again. And my nose is running. And for the blush, I take my e.l.f. blush brush. I love it for my blush, and then I have another one for my face masks. It's so nice. Pat upwards, if that makes sense. And then I dust a little bit like this side to side on my nose. And see, like, it's barely nothing, but I still feel like it gives you just a little bit of color outside of your bronzer. And that's that on that. I just freaking dropped my blush. Love that. I did the other lash. I just like how they flare upwards. But I also do my bottom mascara. I use the same L'Oreal telescopic mascara. And now I just need to highlight my face. I'm gonna take the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek Highlighter in Wisp. And I take this with a lip brush, actually. It's a NYX lip brush. It looks a little like this. Super, super small, but perfect for this. So I just dab my nose. And then go down the bridge, then kind of blend it out with my finger. I also do my Cupid's bow. And then as for my cheeks, I'll take the same Juvia's Palace. I keep calling this Palace. It's Juvia's Place. This highlighter brush from Real Techniques. Does some of that. And build that up onto the top of my cheekbone. And then I'll even go in with the lip brush that I was using to go on top of the wisp. Add an extra shine. For brows, I just take my NYX Control Freak brow gel. Brush my brow hairs upwards. Booyah! And then for lip combo, I take two NYX lip liners, and one is in Nude Truffle and the other one is in brown. I'll start with the Nude Truffle. This one's a lighter one. So I took off the Vaseline and I just outlined my lips. And this is basically just a nude brown, which I love by itself, but we're gonna layer today. So that's what that looks like. And I stay pretty true to my natural lip line. And then I take the darker one and just go like on the outside in the middle, like so. Kind of on the outer edge too, to kind of add some dimension. I take two different NYX lip butter glosses. The lighter one is in Madeline and the darker one is in Ginger Snap. I start with the Ginger Snap. So it should look like that, and then I layer on top the Madeline. So I don't put the Ginger Snap everywhere. And then if you want just a little bit of an extra shine, I add a clear gloss on top. This was clear, but because I always layer stuff, it looks kind of brown now. But this is the Essence clear gloss. Dab it on top. And there you go. And last thing, I forgot, I spray my face with MAC Prep and Prime. This is the one in Coconut. I just rinse my face a little bit to set it. Oh yeah. And that's pretty much it for my everyday makeup look. I'll put all of the links in the description box down below to the products that I use and the names, the shades, all that. That about sums up this video. Please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below if you try anything that I use in this video or if you follow my same routine. And I'll catch y'all in tomorrow's Vlogmas. Bye y'all.